Natural wonders, more than just sand. At first glance, Qatar seems like an empty desert, flat, sandy, and arid. But hidden within are natural treasures. Offshore coral reefs provide marine habitats, while the northeast coast holds mangroves that attract migratory birds. Purple Island is especially famous for its sea lavender plants that bloom in shades of violet, giving the land its name. In winter, flamingos gather at the unlikely Al Karaana sewage ponds, their pink feathers standing out against the salty water. Meanwhile, the southern desert holds Qatar's most breathtaking sight, the inland sea, Khor al-Adaid. Here, giant sand dunes collapse dramatically into turquoise water, creating one of the world's few places where the desert literally meets the ocean. The land itself is mostly flat, though the Dukhan Ridge in the west offers rocky outcrops and Qatar's highest point, Qurain Abu al-Bahl, just 103 meters above sea level. Despite the modest height, this spot represents the country's only true elevation. Qatar has no rivers, no lakes, and no permanent natural water sources. All fresh water comes from desalination, groundwater, or recycling. Yet despite this, Qatar has created artificial lakes, like the wide reservoir in the industrial area near Doha. The desert may seem lifeless, but gazelles, sand cats, foxes, and even nesting sea turtles call it home. The Arabian oryx, once nearly extinct, is now protected and celebrated as Qatar's national animal. History, from pearls to petroleum. For much of history, Qatar's survival depended on the sea. Bedouin tribes roamed inland, while coastal villages relied on fishing and pearl diving. Qatari pearls were prized across the world for centuries, supporting the economy until Japanese cultured pearls destroyed the trade in the 20th century. Control of Qatar shifted between empires, Persians, Ottomans, and later the British. In 1868, the Al Thani family consolidated power, establishing the ruling dynasty that continues today. In the 20th century, the discovery of oil, and later, vast reserves of natural gas, transformed Qatar from one of the poorest Gulf sheikdoms into one of the richest nations on earth. The rise was rapid. Within just a few decades, desert villages became global metropolises, and nomadic lifestyles gave way to luxury high-rises. Today, Qatar has the third largest natural gas reserves in the world and is the second largest exporter, fueling its immense wealth. Economy, gas, glass, and growth. Petroleum and natural gas dominate, they make up around 70% of government revenue, 60% of GDP, and 85% of exports. The massive North Field, lying offshore in the Persian Gulf, is the largest single natural gas field in the world. But Qatar is not content to rely solely on energy. The country has invested heavily in tourism, finance, and media. Its sovereign wealth fund, the Qatar Investment Authority, owns stakes in international giants like Volkswagen, Barclays, and Harrods. Qatar also created Al Jazeera, the most influential media network in the Arab world, projecting its voice globally. Construction is constant. Entire districts have risen from sand in under a decade. The Pearl Qatar, a man-made island filled with luxury apartments, malls, and marinas, shows the country's taste for grandeur. Hosting the 2022 FIFA World Cup was Qatar's boldest project yet, bringing unprecedented international attention. Society, a country of outsiders. Qatar's biggest paradox lies in its people. Out of 2.6 million residents, only about 12% are Qatari citizens. The rest are expatriates, mostly workers from India, Nepal, Bangladesh, the Philippines, and Egypt. In fact, Qatar has one of the most imbalanced gender ratios in the world, roughly 3.4 men for every woman, due to the large number of male laborers. Becoming a Qatari citizen is almost impossible. Naturalization requires 25 years of continuous residence, fluent Arabic, and proof of independent wealth. Even then, only the emir can approve applications. This exclusivity makes Qatari citizenship one of the most valuable statuses on earth, tied to immense benefits like free healthcare, education, and generous stipends. The vast expatriate labor force has also brought criticism. Qatar's kafala system, which tied workers' visas to their employers, was widely condemned for abuse. Although reforms have been introduced, stories of passport confiscation, poor housing, and exploitation have tarnished Qatar's international image. Culture, tradition meets modernity. Despite rapid modernization, Qataris remain proud of their traditions. Men wear white thobes with distinctive head scarves, while women wear black abayas, sometimes decorated with colorful embroidery. Weddings are often celebrated in vast desert tents with music, dancing, and poetry. Falconry is a national passion. Owning, training, and racing falcons is a mark of prestige, and Qatar is home to one of the world's only dedicated falcon hospitals. Camel racing, once traditional, has been modernized with robotic jockeys. Food reflects Qatar's history of trade and migration. Popular dishes include makbuz, a spiced rice dish with meat or fish, saluna, a hearty stew, balalit, sweet vermicelli with eggs, and lukamat, sweet fried dumplings. Music carries echoes of the desert and the sea. Traditional songs use drums and the oud, often performed in call-and-response style. The sword dance, arda, remains a highlight of cultural festivals. Yet alongside these traditions, modern art, galleries, and experimental music are emerging, showing Qatar's hunger for global recognition. International relations, a small giant on the world stage. For such a tiny country, Qatar plays a surprisingly big role in world affairs. It hosts Al Udeid Air Base, one of the largest U.S. military facilities in the Middle East. It invests billions across Europe and Asia. And it often acts as a mediator in regional conflicts, hosting negotiations in Doha. Relations with neighbors, however, are complex. In 2017, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Bahrain, and Egypt launched a blockade against Qatar, accusing it of supporting terrorism and growing too close to Iran. Qatar denied the claims and survived the blockade with support from Turkey and Iran, strengthening its independent identity. Today, Qatar remains close with Turkey, enjoys strong ties with the United States and the UK, and maintains vital business partnerships with Japan and South Korea, who rely on its gas. Conclusion: the desert future. Qatar is a land of contrasts, an ancient Bedouin culture living in the shadow of glittering skyscrapers, a wealthy elite surrounded by millions of foreign workers, a country smaller than Connecticut wielding influence across continents. From pearl divers and desert nomads to energy tycoons and global diplomats, Qatar's transformation is one of the most dramatic in modern history. Whether admired or criticized, one thing is certain: Qatar refuses to be ignored. It has carved a place for itself in the spotlight, and with its immense wealth and ambition, it is determined to shape the future of the Gulf, and perhaps the world. Qatar, the desert jewel of the Gulf. Step off the plane in Doha, and you might expect sand, heat, and glass skyscrapers. But before you even get a proper taste of the desert air, you're greeted by a giant yellow teddy bear stuck inside a lamp at Hamad International Airport. A strange welcome, yes, but also the perfect symbol for Qatar itself: surprising, bold, sometimes confusing, yet unforgettable. Geography: the peninsula of ambition. Qatar is a small finger of land jutting into the Persian Gulf, surrounded by water on three sides and bordered only by Saudi Arabia on the fourth. It stretches just 185 kilometers north to south and 85 kilometers wide, smaller than many world cities. Yet, despite its size, Qatar commands attention across the globe. The capital, Doha, hugs the eastern shoreline and is home to more than 80% of the entire population. Glittering skyscrapers rise in futuristic clusters, with neighborhoods stretching outward like waves of glass and steel. Doha also holds the country's main airport and seaport, both named Hamad, symbols of Qatar's determination to serve as a global hub. Beyond Doha, life slows. Al Khor in the north is the largest town outside the capital, with around 30,000 residents, while Dukhan, on the western coast, sits near vital oil fields. The rest of the country is connected by highways, including the road south that links Qatar to Saudi Arabia. But drive away from the cities, and soon the highways vanish into endless dunes and shimmering heat.